Welcome to our lab activity today on radioactivity. More particularly, this lab is entitled Half-Life. And so, if you would, please open your books to the Half-Life Lab now, and let's read the problem together as we get started. It says, is there a regular pattern? Is there a regular pattern to the way radioactive materials decay? And what it's specifically asking you about is this. When we graph the radioactive decay rate, is it going to produce a graph that illustrates some type of a regular pattern or not? Is it going to happen at a regular rate? That's basically what the question is asking you. If you need to pause the video in order to write your hypothesis, do so now. Welcome back, everybody, and here we are, ready for our Half-Life Lab, aka the RadPar. The RadPar experiment. Now, we're calling it the RadPar experiment, and I'm wearing my protective gloves today to protect me against the radioactive particles that we'll be using today. So let me explain to you how we will be doing this, and I'll also be wearing my protective goggles as well when we get to it. But let me explain how this lab works first. We're going to have a container. Oops. And the container looks like this, okay? Notice that symbol on the container. We're going to start off with that container, which contains radioactive radpars. And, we're going to call them active radpars for short. Radpars stands for radioactive particles. So active radpars. And we're going to begin with 200 active radpars. Now, they have a very short half-life, so we'll be able to do this experiment within the course of one period. But what you're going to do with the 200 radpars in the protective box is activate them by shaking them about in your hand in the box. Once you've shaken them, you're going to spill them onto a protective tabletop. And when you do so, you will notice that they're not all the same. Some are going to be facing white side up. Some of them are going to be facing black side up. The ones that have the white side up are the ones that have decayed. They're no longer radioactive and they can be removed from the protective covering of your table. The ones that are black side up, however, black go back in the box because the black ones are still radioactive and we have to activate them again and get rid of them until there is no longer a need for my protective gloves on. All right. So bottom line is this: we start with all 200 radpars in the box. We shake them to activate them. We spill them on the tabletop. We remove the ones that are white. They are no longer radioactive. We put the black radpars back in the box because they're still radioactive. We shake them, we spill them, and we repeat the process. So all you got to remember is black back in the box, white in the bag, and we also have to count as we go along. Now, for the purpose of this video, just to speed the video up a little bit, I've already pre-counted the ones that are active after each spill and will be returned back to the box because It's those that we are counting. It is the black ones that we count that go back in the box. It is that number that we record each time, and we record that in our observation section in our data table, and we keep track of those numbers each spill, because we're going to use those numbers to create a Radpar decay rate, our graph. And so on page 175, the next page here, you'll see your graph. And what I'd like you to do is take a few moments now before we even begin to label your graph. It is the Radpar decay rate graph. And over on the y-axis, you're going to be labeling the y-axis active Radpars. And it's going to go from 0 on the bottom to 200 at the top. Each of the lines will have a value of 10 Radpars. So that bold middle line is the halfway point. That is 100 Radpars. So take a moment and label all of the lines, counting in intervals of 10 from 0 to 200. Now, as you do that, you'll also be labeling the the x-axis. Did I missay that? This is the y-axis here. I hope I didn't misspeak earlier. This is the y-axis up and down. This is the x-axis horizontally. And you're going to label the x-axis the number of spills, which indicate the half-lives. The half-lives are on the x-axis, and that corresponds to the number of spills. And on the x-axis, you'll notice the vertical lines that are bold. The bold vertical lines, those are the half-lives, so label each of those with a number, and you're going to number from 1 to 10. If you do it correctly, 10 will be the last line at the end of your graph. So you have 0 to 200 on the y-axis, 0 to 10 on the x-axis, and once your graph is completely set up, then we'll be able to begin the lab activity. And you can pause this video if you need to now as I go to the top view. So when you are ready, continue the video and we'll resume with the top view of our Radpar box. So here we go. Your graph should be all set and ready. And I will show you the contents of our box here. And you'll notice it is labeled radioactive, so we need to be careful here. But we're going to remove all of the Radpars from the protective. Ooh, looks like we need a new bag here. This one's getting old. But we're going to place all of our Radpars into the box. Uh-oh, some of them have spilled out. Take those and put them back in the box. And there are 200 radioactive Radpars in the box right now. Okay? I'm going to put my hand on the top, and I have my protective glove, and I'm going to activate them. I'm going to activate them by shaking them the first time. Now, before we go on, look at your data table. On your data table, you will see spill number 0. That's right now, the spill number is 0. And how many Radpars do we have in here? 200. 200 Radpars. So look at the active Radpars column. You've got 200 in here right now. But now I'm going to shake it. And I'm going to spill it. And we spread them all out. And you will notice some of them are white side up. Some of them are black side up. Make sure they're all emptied from the box. And the first thing that you will do when you do this in person is to separate the black ones from the white ones. And as you remove the black ones, you will count them. And make sure you count all of the black ones as you remove them from the protective covering of your table. So I am removing them, and counting them as I go along. And again, for the sake of this lab activity, I have already completed this. And I will tell you the number for you to record: 103. I have removed 103 active radpars, and the active radpars I am returning to our box. So now there are 103. Did I say 103? 103 active radpars in the box. And we shake it a second time, and we spill it. And we separate them all out, and we remove the black ones, and we count. Again, I have already done this. So for the sake of time, I have counted up the active radpars. And the active radpars on spill number 2 are 54. 54 radpars. Write that down. I've put the 54 radpars back in our protective box, and now it's time to shake the third time. Third time I'm shaking here. This is our third spill. We spread them out, count the black ones, and there are 26 black radpars remaining that I am now putting back in the box. Be careful not to drop any anywhere. They're radioactive. Now we shake again. And this will be the next one. So we've gone from 103 to 54 to 26. And now, again, I've done this earlier, counted them up, and our number of active radpars is 13. 13. Again, place that number of active radpars back in the box, shake them up, spill again, and this time the active number is 6. Write down 6. After spill number 5, the active number is 6. And notice, after each time, we have fewer and fewer active radpars remaining. So now we're on spill number 6. And we have 3 active radpars remaining. 3 active radpars remaining. Put them back in the box. This will be spill number 7. And spill number 7 previously showed that there were only 1 active radpar in the box. 1. We put it back in the box and spill it. And on the last spill, we had no more active radpars. So I kind of fudged things a little bit here for the purposes of the video, but I'm giving you my original numbers on the graph. I will repeat them for you now. So in your data table, spill number 0 was 200. Spill 1, 103. Spill 2, 54. Spill 3, 26. Spill 4, 13. Spill 5, 6. Spill 6, 3. Spill 7, 1. Spill 8, 0. And spills 9 and 10 don't exist. We didn't need them. So you can write down 0 as well. So we've completed the Radpar decay with the Radpars themselves. And so what I would like you to do at this time is to answer the questions on page 175 after you have graphed your data. So graph your data first, draw a line, answer the questions, and then write your conclusion on page 174. Once everyone has had opportunity to do that, we will discuss your questions and your conclusion, and that will be it for our lab activity for today. So until discussion time, I'll say bye-bye.